most of Adam Sandler's classics are from the 90s. And, you get your greats like Happy Gilmore, Billy Madison, The Water Boy, Little Nicky. I think that's what, late 90s, early 2000s. And then you have The Wedding Singer. And for some reason, I think The Wedding Singer gets kind of looked over. I mean, he's actually playing like a normal guy in The Wedding Singer, just a struggling dude, just trying to survive, with Billy Madison. He's kind of immature, kind of caught lost in his adolescence. Happy Gilmore, he got severe anger issues. Waterboy, he's kind of mentally impaired, retarded for those Gen Xers out there. But with the Wedding Singer, he's just your common guy, doing basically a normal job. I mean, he's singing at weddings and stuff. He's not rich, not poor. He's just trying to get by. And for some reason, I think it gets maybe passed over for that. It's kind of like a more subtle comedy. But personally, I think it's probably one of his better comedies of the 90s. You don't have all those outrageous moments. However, I just think it's just solid. And let's face it, I think a lot of his retakes or his additions, additions? No, his versions of those 80s songs, I kind of like them better than the actual 80s songs that came out, the real versions. And I do believe they captured at least the style of the 80s very well. His friend, the limo driver, he gets that one glove and the Michael Jackson jacket. I remember that being like very popular back in the 80s. It was the thing. And then for Drew Barrymore, this is kind of a movie that kind of put her right back on the map. She was really famous for E.T., and then I think she was in, The Firestarter or something like that, it was called. And then her career kind of went on a down low. You didn't really hear about her for a long time, and then she had, a very small part in Batman Forever as one of Two-Face's girls. And then, can't remember. Oh, then she had her, 5 or 10 minutes on Scream. Scream. I can't really say Scary Movie, which is a parody of Scream. But no, she had her 10 minutes in Scream. But then, she's a co-star in The Wedding Singer. And then she hit it big with Charlie's Angels. That really put her solidly in the A-list category. She was in, Boys with Cars, I think, was another movie. But, The Wedding Singer, to me, was the one that really put her back on top out there in the general audience. Let's see here. What else I want to say? But, to me, I really love The Wedding Singer. I think it's hilarious. Ironically, I think the funniest parts is when he's having a mental breakdown. He's singing a song with John Lovitz. He's like, hey, I've been listening to The Cure a lot. This is it, this might be influenced by them. It starts out all sweet and soft, and he gets kind of heavy there, yelling and screaming to the microphone. Of course, John Lovitz makes a great cameo, and Steve Buscemi comes back in this movie as the drunken brother, and reveals all those stuff about his brother's life and what they did together at his wedding. Kind of jealous. And then he turns around at the end where, Steve Buscemi is the wedding singer. Got a great appearance from Billy Idol in this movie. Cameo by Billy Idol. Let's see what else. Great soundtrack. That's about all I really have to say about The Wedding Singer. But if you haven't seen The Wedding Singer and you like Adam Sandler, I don't know why you wouldn't want to watch this one. Like I said, I think it's better than the other ones that he did in the 90s. Though for some reason, they're the ones that get talked about the most. I think because his character in those movies are so over the top. And like I said, this one is more for your common man people. He's struggling. And, as a guy, it very does kind of hit home. Because you're expected to be the breadwinner and to make money to sort of support your family. And the whole reason why his first girl leaves him was because, he's just a wedding singer making $50 a weekend, in her words, which I guess in the 80s was decent money. I don't remember being that inexpensive to be living in the 80s. But, going back to my point, it does kind of hit home for a guy. You're meant to be the breadwinner, support your family with your job. Like he sings about, he lives in his sister's basement at this time, and what kind of girl would want to marry a guy living in his sister's basement? Also kind of goes hand in hand with the idea, to marry someone, you have to be like everybody has like their dream girl, dream guy. I imagine if you're a woman, and to capture that dream guy or dream girl, you do have to live a lifestyle that they would want. If your dream girl is a bum who doesn't work and wants to live out in the streets, you kind of have to have that lifestyle. You know what I mean? But if your dream girl is supermodel, you got to look good, you got to go work out at the gym, be a high wage winner, job person. That's kind of what this movie kind of, in a way, jokingly talks about, because Drew Barrymore's fiance, he's a wealthy guy. However, he has some pitfalls when you date people like that. He has girls on the side. And I don't know. That's basically like the message I got from this movie, if there is a message. But it's a great little gem from Adam Sandler. Really enjoyed it. If there's ever going to do a sequel, I wouldn't mind Waiting to See Her 2, maybe. Would be kind of hard. If would have to take place maybe a son or something like that. But you just got to keep working hard like he did. You got great characters in this one. You got the slutty sister. I do really feel like this movie did capture the 80s lifestyle very well, the concerns of that decade, definitely the music and the vibes of the 80s overall. Well, let me know what you think about The Wedding Singer. Do you think this is one of Adam Sandler's best? Would you put this in its top 5? I would definitely put this as a top 5, maybe perhaps a top 3 Adam Sandler movie. You gotta love the rapping grandma in this one. Got great characters. Adam Sandler does well, shows his range as an actor. It's one of those that kind of down-to-earth movies, unlike the other ones he was coming out with in the 90s. Anyways, what's your thoughts about The Wedding Singer? And let me know in the comments below, and have a great day. Adios.